Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the new card report. Legacy of Destruction has had another archetype revealed, and this one's great for fans of Tri-Brigade. Assuming that the main thing you liked about Tri-Brigade was the fact that it used three types that were mostly unrelated. I mean, it used the tri-types, right? Beast, Winged Beast, and Beast Warrior, but this one now instead focuses on plants, insects, and reptiles, which have some amount of... You can go outside and see some or most of those, right? I don't know how well this is all going to work, but I do know that I play Beetrooper, and I will gladly yoink any even halfway playable Link 3 if they have the means to give me that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to what it is we're here to see. The new cards. Reported by me. Raika no Marikobe, also known as, I'm going to butcher every single one of these names, do not at me in the comments, is up first, being an Earth Attribute level 1 plant with 0 attack and defense, that can once per turn special summon itself from your hand by sending a plant, insect, or reptile type monster from your hand to the graveyard. And on normal or special summon, you can add up to 2 Raika cards with different names, except for a copy of itself, from either your banished pile or your deck to your hand. The catch is that you will have to banish one card from your hand after doing this, and you will be locked into only summoning insects, plants, and reptiles for the rest of the turn. First things first, this card is edgy as hell, and I absolutely love it. A plant that's also a like skull-based snake? Yeah, I can get behind that. Now, this is where we can really admire the fact that it searches for 2, but still is kind of a net 0. That's impressive, isn't it? Since you have to, banish the one and it itself, and you discard 1 to summon it, so like you're down 2, but you're up 2. It works out, the math, the economy. Either way, you got access to not just monsters, but also the Raika spell and trap as well, since it just lists 2 Raika cards. Granted, a searcher is only really as good as what it is going to be searching, but getting 2 from the deck or 2 recovered to be able to continue making plays in a bit of a grind game is a reliable effect, if nothing else. The banish pairs well with the rest of the archetype, which should come as no shock, as you'll come to find out, but the tragedy is of course the lock behind it. Tri-Brigade locks you only to using the tri-types as material for your summons, but this new archetype is locking you into these new tri-types, or as I'm going to be referring them, the RIP types, or RIP for reptile, insect, plants, because that's easier to say, and quite frankly, I saw it on Reddit and I'm yoinking that shit. So, there's no generic Barone or generic Appaloosa at the end boards of whatever this deck is doing. Whether that makes this more appealing or less appealing to you is entirely up to you, but it's safe to say that right from the gate, this deck has been minorly, I almost said majorly shot in the knee. Did I make a fucking Skyrim reference? Oh, dude, what the fuck? Up next is Raika no Yahazu Kamikiri. I'm one-taking all of these, I don't care. This is a light level 3 insect with 1500 attack and 0 defense that can special summon itself from your hand by placing one of the banished RIP type monsters from the banished pile onto the bottom of your deck. And it has no actual on-field effect. Instead, if it is sent to the graveyard as the link material for a Raika monster, you can target any level 4 or lower reptile, insect, or plant in your grave except for a copy of itself, and then summon it back in defense. Both of these effects obviously have the tried and true once per turns because modern Yugioh. Yo, this is a samurai bug. Visually, this looks like something out of Samurai Jack to me. Insert the meme about guy who's only seen Jamurai Sack. Insert the meme about the guy who's only seen, Boss Baby, thinking everything looks like and reminds him of Boss Baby. On to what matters. This pairs beautifully with the Searcher to no shock, since you can banish 1 card from your hand after searching this as well, and then you can tuck that banished card onto the bottom of the deck and you summon this, and then you can link them off into a 2 and then revive it, and you've got 3 materials. It's crazy. It's almost like it's a Link climbing deck immediately. Joshua Schmidt be damned, pretty solid addition to the deck here. So what more could they possibly need? Not to mention, there's plenty of options with reptiles, insects, and plants generally. Beetroopers can swarm with ease, and it doesn't negate the effects of whatever it is it summons, so there's the potential that you could summon back, say, a Scout Buggy, or a Sting the Poison, or a reptile or a plant, and do something decent, which it's not that bad. Raika no Yorai Tokage is the last main deck monster revealed thus far, a level 4 dark reptile with 0 attack and 2300 defense. This one can summon itself from the hand by banishing a rip type from the graveyard, and that's the only thing notable about it. Now, it's not the only thing it has on it. It can also discard a card, or more accurately a reptile, insect, or plant, to target a opponent's monster that isn't a reptile, insect, or plant, and then bounce it to the hand, which means that it is awful in the mirror match. But it is a free level 4 in most rip type decks, so that's a cute little compulse to go along with them. Truthfully, I just see this as being an extender, because it's a cute, and by cute I mean it's fucking ugly as shit. Because I don't know what it is I'm looking at exactly, but I do know that somebody saw this and went, yep, a reptile, and that's what we have to live with now. The weakest of the three, but hey, if nothing else, extending is not the worst thing to have, just to reiterate. And while those three are the only main deck monsters, they've got plenty of links to go with them. Raika no Musha Dokuro is a fire plant link 2 with 1600 attack and arrows pointing bottom left and bottom right. It'll need any 2 monsters to summon, including at least 1 rip type, and has 2 once per turn effects. Using either of them will lock you into only the rip type monsters, because that's just what this deck does, but in all honesty, if you're playing this, you've probably already done so by the time you got to this point. Or ideally you would have, because the level 1 is just really, really good. This first effect will allow you to target a Raika monster in your grave and summon it in defense position, and the second effect activates if it's in your graveyard, letting you target a rip type monster you control and place it on the bottom of the deck to special summon this card back from your graveyard. Behold, liberals, I'm making Serpentine Princess relevant. Yeah, that's the only halfway a joke there. I think I saw Lithium posted a video that showcased that they can do that. They can play Serpentine Princess to not a bad effect, which is insane, because that's a card that it's activated if it triggers in the deck, right? Either way. For the Le Barasman skeleton monster, it's super easy for link climbing, and if you make it with the combo I mentioned earlier, you've got the plant to summon the insect, or search the insect and then banish the material to summon the insect. Boom, you bring back 1 monster with the insect, you bring back another monster with this, and you've got 4 link materials on field, at which point you can just link off for 3 and then bring back the 2, and really you can escalate quite easily in this deck. You can get to some high link ratings, which this deck does have. Raiko no Ugami Nushi is their link 3, and it's an insect, so you know my Beetrooper playing ass is side-eyeing this like a motherfucker. This is a wind insect level 3, and by level I mean link 3, with 2300 attack and arrows pointing left, down, and down right. It also needs any 2 or more monsters, including a rip type, and it's got 2 effects, with the hard ones per turn on them. The first will let you banish any 2 rip type monsters from your grave to add a Raika trap card from your deck to your hand, and the second is the exact same effect as the link 2. While it's in your grave, you can target a rip type monster you control, place it on the bottom of your deck, and then special summon this out from the grave, but doing so locks you into rip type monsters for the rest of the turn. Well, that's playable in Beetrooper, so I will be yoinking it. Not shocked and not really disappointed. It's kind of just an extender, so I'm not going to complain. It's a self-reviving link 3, which isn't nothing, and it's also probably part of why it is you can't make anything you want, because this and access code together would just be stupid. It'd just be stupid as I hiccup in the middle of my sentence. The banish 2 for 1 trap card maybe seems a bit steep, but it's far from the end of the world and probably not that hard to accomplish regardless. I just am maybe pickier and would like it to do less. It seems pretty solid. It's nothing mind-shattering, but it serves as a trap for turn 1 setups, and it can help you extend to make plays by reviving itself from the graveyard. Plus, it looks dope as fuck. Big-ass Scythe Mantis? Yeah, this thing fucks. Raika no Kusarigami, yep, perfect, is their link 4, a fire reptile with 2900 attack and 3 arrows pointing down and 1 pointing to the right. It'll also need 2 or more monsters, including a rip type monster to summon, and again it has 2 effects. The first activates if the opponent activates a monster effect at all, and will make it so neither player can activate monster effects in the hand for the rest of the turn, which is kind of funky. The second is the same as the others, to place a rip type on the bottom and revive it from your graveyard and then give you that rip lock, but that's not really what's important, since that's pretty well established as the thing every one of these monsters has at this point. The on-field effect is what's more interesting, as it kinda protects you from hand traps once you can get this out, but I don't know how often you're going to be getting this out at a point where you haven't already been hand trapped. Like, this is a Link 4. You're already in Nibiru zone by the time you've got the means to, you know, summon this thing out to try and shut off Nibiru. And it doesn't really matter if they've ashed you previously, because they need to ash you while this is on the board. Feels like it's more better off being revived with its grave effect and then insulating you on turn 3 as you push for game, but it's not nothing. I've seen comments that it can help you shut off, say, Fire King decks because they summon Ponix, and then this is on board and you lock them, and then if they pop Fire King Island, or they pop Ponix with Fire King Island to search Garunix to hand, Garunix can't activate in the hand. So there are ways to floodgate with it. I'm sure that's fun, right? I thought everyone loves that. It's not really crazy. It's got niche matchups that will shut it down, which sucks. And then other than that, it's just kind of like interesting. Also, this is the most Yu-Gi-Oh! Designed card in existence because the typing says reptile, but my eyes say that's just a dude. Or dudette. I didn't pay that much attention. Raika no Dioga is their last monster, and it's a big old Link 5. Hot damn! An earth insect with 3,300 attack, and the best arrows it can have is a Link 5, with 3 pointing down and the others pointing left and right. This one does need any 2 or more Rip-type monsters specifically to summon, so it's less splashable, and its on-field effect has the most useful one? Question mark? It activates if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck or extra deck, and will destroy 2 monsters on the field. It has the exact same revival effect as the other ones, which is neat. Like, yay, I can get my boss monster back out with ease, but I'm kind of torn on the on-field effect. It's really nothing insanely strong when it's a Link 5. But at the same time, that level 1 monster can by itself get you to this without even having to use your normal summon if you just open any other Rip type. So it's like, it kind of needs to be neutered in that respect since it's so easy to Link climb into. And it's not like 2 non-targeted destructions are a bad effect, it's just way less than what my brain wants from a Link 5. It does look sick as shit though, so there is that going for it. Like, I do want to summon it out as often as I can to have an excuse to look at it. And I don't even care that it doesn't really look at all like an insect, because at least it has the cool factor to make up for that fact. But otherwise, it's just like, yeah, okay. It could have been worse, but it definitely could have been better. Raika Frantic Blooming is the only spell card we've seen thus far, a continuous spell that has the minor effect to give all your Rip-type monsters 300 attack and defense, and will make all non-Rips lose 300 attack and defense. As to why it is you'd want to play it, well, it's because the other effect is actually good, because once per turn you can activate the effect to either add a Raika monster from deck to hand, and then discard a card, or you can special summon a Raika monster from your grave or banished pile in defense position. That's right, it's a card that can set up the main deck Reptile by itself. And all you have to do is, you know, have the monsters that you'd want as an extender. What is that sentence? I was high when I wrote that, probably. It's searchable off the level 1, which is notable, and it can search level 1, which gives this deck a nice bit of consistency. There's also definitely a joke here in regards to this art. Something terrible to the effect of POV, you pulled out gum in class. I don't know. Either way, it's Kashtira Birth, but it can search as well, so like, that's gotta be fucking playable. Raika Flowering Headhunt Rondo is the last card of the set, and you could probably have guessed by now, but it's the trap card you'll be searching with that Link 3. This is a normal trap that targets cards your opponent controls up to the number of Rip-type monsters you control with different types and destroys them. It also has the grave effect that if a Rip-type monster you control is destroyed, you can banish this card to target and destroy an opponent's monster, but you have to use that on a turn other than the turn it was sent to the graveyard. So it's cute. I mean, it pops up to 3 as disruption, which can be pretty damn solid. Lord knows Icarus Attack and Sword Soul Blackout and the like have been pretty damn reliable in previous formats. So if you start to lose your field, you can kind of tit for tat with the opponent as well with the graveyard effect. Oh, you destroyed my bug? Fuck one of your monsters then. It's fine, especially being a one of. You can just search it off the Link 3 when going first, and if you need to, you can side it out going second. It's nothing great, but there are definitely worse cards, and it's nothing terrible. All in all, this seems pretty damn solid. No individual card seems bad. I mean, arguably that main deck Reptile, but even then, it's an extender, so yes, some of the cards are better than others, but everything here has a use in the deck. And while it is hindered by the lock into only reptile, insects, and plants, there are plenty of cards in those 3 types. Beargrim, or whatever that big 3400 level 9 monster is a solid boss monster in particular. And like I've mentioned before, Beetroopers and Battle Wasps. Not to mention, I believe it was in Burst of Destiny that Plants and Insects got some pretty generic and splashable just support. A level 3 insect tuner that can summon itself from the hand if you control an insect, and a level 7 synchro that gives an extra normal summon to a plant or an insect. There's Ogdoadic engines, there's King of the Feral Imps, and plenty of more cards in actual established decks that matter, such as, like I mentioned, Beetrooper or Bee-Wasp, which I'm not fixing that mix-up, or Rika, Sun Avalon, these sorts of things. So there's definitely smatterings of playability here. This doesn't scream a tip-top tier 1 deck to me, certainly not by itself, but much like Tri-Brigade has been for the Tri-Beast types, this will definitely be showing up in any reptile, insect, or plant deck moving forward for the foreseeable future, or at least that's my prediction. If nothing else, you've got an extra little bit of destroying cards between the Link 5 and the Trap to accompany whatever other end board these Tri-deck types might be making. So yeah, maybe it only pops, but it's pretty consistent and reliable pops and easy link spam. Plus, whatever you're linking off can revive itself for later. So that's, if nothing else, potential. And really, what's more important than that? Oh right, the fact that they look sick as shit. That's what matters most, baby. And so that wraps it up for this new card report. Just covering some of the new cards in this one. The regular update will be out on Friday as usual. Until then, thanks as always go to the LIFD team for supporting my channel. The best way to support my channel currently, and the true duelist approved way to show off your Tri-Brigade cards, because you built Tri-Brigade Fire King and you're like, maybe I just want to be ignorant and play Dogmatica Fire King instead. Do I want to do that? Maybe I do. What am I going to do with these? X-Saber deck coming out Neversville. Until then, thanks to LIFD for the support. If you want to get 15% off one of these bad boys, it's promo code YGOStrats15. Type it in at the discount code on the website. Click the link in the description, however you want to do it. Thanks to LIFD, and thank you for watching. Like I said, regular update will be out on Friday, and until then, I've been your host, Craig Fee. Make sure you subscribe to Yugioh Strats to impress your smoking Italian wife, and most importantly, so you too can be a true duelist.